All right, finally we're gonna get to how to run a day of Ultimate Frisbee and PlayFit. So it'll go sort of like this. People show up, give them a Frisbee, and ask them to choose a partner and play catch. You should be playing catch too with somebody because you're really leading by example. It's best to have your catch, near the pile of Frisbees because you'll also want to greet people by name when they show up because having everyone learn everybody's names, great. It'll also give you a chance to get a conversation started as people usually just do what the leader does. And so we do like the weekend question saying, hey, what'd you do last weekend? What are you doing this weekend? Turns out to be a really simple way to start conversation. It helps you get to know people based on how much they want to share, but it's not the only question. So if you have others that really work well, please email me so I can share them with other people too. We'll play catch for about 5 minutes. And then you'll run 2 3-minute drills. There are 3 drills you'll see later on in this video. The catch drill, the box catch drill, and then monkey in the middle. You'll run drills for 3 minutes long. And it's probably best to set a timer on your phone unless you have another way to keep track. You'll probably have to explain the drill, at least in the beginning. But during the drill, you'll not do it. You'll watch and not play, because that'll give you a chance to give some attaboys for what people are doing right. Because remember, they're learning. They come with almost no skills. You'll want to point out pretty much everything that people do right. And obviously you can overdo it by saying something every 2 seconds, but be generous with positive feedback. Because you'll be giving really 3 types of feedback, positive feedback that is. First, if people do any part of a skill right, you'll want to point it out. Hey, that was great, bringing your arm behind your shoulder. Somebody throws it right. Second, if people are improving, hey, you're throwing much more accurately than even last week. That's good to hear. And third is really for behaviors you want to see, like hustling or sharing. Pointing that out is great. So after the first drill, go right to the second drill, which will give people about a minute of rest as you explain and possibly get the cones out. After the second drill, ask for help putting out the cones for the game itself. And the cones are going to go along the sides of the field. And ideally, you'll want to put a cone every 20 feet or so, because we're not getting lines painted just for us, so the cones will make the lines for us. We're getting dots, so we know where the corners are, but we have to put the lines down with cones. After that, bring everybody together and choose sides randomly. And if you haven't done this before, you just look around and start counting heads. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Tell the 1s to go over there, the 2s go over there. Give the 2s the pennies. And then you're going to play a game of 3 periods. And you should play if you want. It'll really give you a chance to lead by example. But also you're going to have to keep score. And remember, people are going to be less fit at the beginning, so we're going to start with 6-minute game periods for 2 weeks, then 8-minute game periods for 2 weeks, and then 10-minute game periods after that. 10 minutes is a lot to keep moving. So how do you play the game itself? To start the game, you're going to start at midfield. Again, the 1s are there, the 2s are there. Start at midfield, give the disc to one side. To play the game, people basically get open. They run to an open space, and people throw to them. The disc moves by completing passes. And the goal is really to get the Frisbee over the end zone line, just like in football. So in short, someone runs over the end zone line, they catch it, 1 point, done. But it's pretty simple, but there's a few important rules. Can you run with the Frisbee? No, that's totally different than in football. You have to stop when you catch it. You get a couple steps because you can't decelerate to 0 quickly. Can you cover the player like in basketball really close? No, you really have to be arm's length away and not touch the thrower. The thrower has about 10 seconds to throw it, and you should probably count 10, 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi. What happens if it hits the ground? It changes direction. It's just like an interception in football. How about if one team's player is way down the field? Well, we don't have offside, so if they want to do it, that's fine. It's really too complicated, and you end up being the referee, and you really want to be a player. Does the clock stop for a goal? No. What to do if somebody is tired? Just rotate them in like ice hockey. There's no timeouts, just somebody come out, somebody come in. You're going to play about 8 on 8, maybe 10 on 10 if you have more space, maybe 6 on 6 depending. But remember, people aren't getting fit if they're sitting. And what do you do if players are much better than other ones? I think one key is you're going to want to encourage people to cover folks of similar ability. How about if it goes out of bounds? Well, you change possession then too. And so you're going to really alternate periods of play with periods of rest. It's about a 4-minute rest period between the play periods. And then you're going to change which team is in goal between periods. Just switch sides. So, you know, if the sun's on one side, people can take turns. So some special situations, what if someone's touching too much? And you might just want to say, hey, this isn't basketball. We're going to stand on one arm's length away. How about if people are pushing each other? You know, you want to give some gentle correction like, hey, just remember, play the Frisbee, not the other person. And I know some of you are probably thinking, wait, I thought I wasn't supposed to give corrective feedback. And the key is it's in the ratio of positive to negative. It doesn't need to be 0 corrective feedback, but it really shouldn't be negative. It can be corrective. But as long as you're giving much more positive feedback than negative feedback, that's fine. How about if people are doing the skills wrong? That I think we're going to try to ignore. Just catch people doing pieces of it right. So there's some general PlayFit principles. One, of course, is catch people doing things right, at least early, so they learn the skills. One key is just do your best and have fun. Who cares who wins? That's really one of the cultural pieces of this. We should shoot for no player contact, play the Frisbee, not the person, you might want to say. And if you're not sure what happened, really just do the play over. There's no point in getting upset. Takeovers are great. And what do you do if the score is lopsided? Well, change a few players between periods so the teams get equal again. And really the other piece is there's no drop-ins. If somebody just wants to play and they're in the park, they really are not allowed. And when you're done, do your best to lead a round of high fives if nobody does it. And point out progress if people did well. Paint the dots again. Just so you know when you come back, the dots will still be there and you can do it again. But that is it, really brief nutshell. That's Ultimate Frisbee. But remember, we're still learning here. So if you have questions that I didn't cover here, please email me so I can share it with other people. So thanks a lot.
All right, Frisbee. Like all these games, we have 3 skills. Frisbee's just a little bit complicated. There's 7 different parts to doing the forehand and the backhand, but we'll go through each of them. You probably have to show people pretty clearly because a lot of people don't know how to throw it, but this is the Frisbee backhand. We call that the backhand, we call that the forehand, and I'm sorry, I'm left-handed, I can't change that. You'll have to kind of think about what a right-hander will do. If it's a problem, please tell us. We'll reshoot the video with Lou doing all this as the righty. So we'll do the backhand. And it's gonna be like this, right? So the key is thumb is on the top. Okay, you just can't do it any other way. I don't know how you even would, honestly. But the key is that the other fingers are inside. Some people will put their finger on the outside, but generally thumb on top, other fingers inside. That's inside, top, okay? To throw it, you're gonna basically put your arm back here. Some people will just do this, which obviously you can't throw very far that way. You're gonna really, to get any force to it, you're gonna put your arm back and just gonna rotate your body a little bit. You're gonna rotate your shoulder back a little bit this way. So you can see arm back, rotate the body. The other part that most people really get wrong is you don't throw like this. You're gonna try to move your arm, the Frisbee and your arm should really be parallel to the ground. That's how you throw it accurately. If you do like this, it's almost always gonna go off that way. If you wanna throw it accurately, you gotta keep your arm and the Frisbee parallel to the ground. So you're gonna move it that way. So you're gonna move along a plane parallel to the ground. Very easy to see people do it. That's really what makes it accurate. The 5th part is when you release it, you're gonna flick your wrist. That's gonna give it the spin. The spin is how it doesn't fall. So you gotta give it speed and spin, and you flick it at the end to give it that. And then also you're gonna follow through. At the end, you're gonna see people, arm's gonna be pointing towards the target. That's how you knew you followed through. You're gonna kind of release here, but then the arm goes forward to follow through. The other part of this is people are running, you gotta lead the receiver. Throw it to where you think they're gonna be or you think they can get to. So I'll just show, sort of put it all together, but keeping it flat, rotate back, flick the wrist. Should go pretty straight. the hardest part, generally straight, the hardest part is definitely to keep the arm parallel to the ground, because if you do it this way, it's just hard to predict where that's going to end up. So in general, and then flick the wrist, should go straight. And an easy way to do it is really just to start with your hand here. If you start with your hand up, you can have it be parallel to the ground a lot easier. That's it. That's throwing your Frisbee backhand. All right, next we're going to try the Frisbee forehand. Again, that's the forehand because it's sort of like you're throwing the ball, and that's backhand. So we call that forehand for whatever use it is. The key is you got to have your thumb on the top, 2 fingers on the inside, and then 2 fingers along the side. Thumb on top, 2 in, 2 along the side. If you can do, I don't know how else, that's the only way it seems to really work. So get your hand right. That's always step 1, okay? The other part too is you got to bend your wrist back. You're going to have to give this some spin. The way to do it is to start with your, because this way you do have your wrist backwards and bent. So the same thing forehand, you put your wrist back. You're going to bring the disc back behind your elbow, so back here, right? You're going to keep your elbow near the body. If you try to do it like this, you can. It's just really not very accurate at all. So every once in a while you'll see people do crazy stuff like this, but in general, if you want to throw it accurately, you're going to have to keep your elbow pretty close to your body. And then you're going to move your arm parallel to the ground. If you try to do it up like, this way, it's going to sail off that way, or this way, it's going to sail off this way. Your arm and your Frisbee will be parallel to the ground. And then, just like in the backhand, you're going to flick your wrist at the end, and that'll give it a lot more spin. So we'll put it all together, and I'll show you one extra thing at the end. So thumb on top, 2 in, 2 along the side. And you're going to, obviously point towards your target. But even you can see my elbow essentially hits my hip. That's how you know it's really close by. And although it's a dog Frisbee, it's pretty good for humans too. The other piece of this, now I don't have a Frisbee left to do this, but in general, you're going to want to lead the receiver. You got to throw it to where they can get to it. But the other thing is you're going to have a defender, so you do have to get pretty good with just stepping to the side and flicking it, and actually even in the backhand too, you're going to have to step to the side. They need to give you a little bit of space, but if you don't step to the side, you're not going to be able to get it past them at all. So that's the Frisbee forehand. All right, so this is a Frisbee partnered catch drill, and we're going to do forehand, forehand, backhand, backhand, 10 throws at about 10 feet, and then go to 20 and do it again. The goal is to not step at all, or maybe 1 step to catch it, but you're trying to throw it right to the person, and because trying to hit a target will make you better at it. So forehand, forehand, backhand, backhand. We'll do 10, and then we'll take a step back. So forehand, pancake. All right. I should have pancaked that. All right, yeah. Pancake if you can. Yep. All right. We'll step back. Yep. We'll see if we can do it without taking a step. All right. All right. Little step. All right. Sit. Woo. I tried only 1 step. Oh, there you go. All right, there you go. Unceremonious ending, but that's it. That's the partnered catch for Frisbee rotating forehand and backhand, 10 throws that are short, 10 throws that are long. Try not to step or one step at most, because you're trying to be able to hit the person exactly where they are. All right, so this is the second ultimate Frisbee throwing and catching drill. It's a box catch. So basically, Lou's gonna cut to one side and I'm gonna try to lead him. And then, so we're gonna move in a box. He's gonna go that way, I'm gonna throw to him. And then I'm gonna go that way, he's gonna throw to me. I'm gonna try not to run into the trampoline. We're gonna give it a little space, and then we just keep going in a box, backwards and forwards like this. All right, you ready?
Yep.
Go. Okay. Oop, missed. And he runs back. I try to lead him, and he tries to lead me.
Catch.
All right.
Nice catch.
All right. Nice, nice. Not hard, not easy. But you get the idea. You're moving in a box. One way, the other way, and back. The other thing we didn't say is that in ultimate Frisbee, low throws are a little bit better. I don't know, it's hard. They're not going to get intercepted, but they might hit the ground. But in general, just this gives you a chance to move to open space and hit a target on the move. All right, so this is the monkey in the middle drill for Frisbee, but I'll also have it for football also. And in this case, we are really one man down or one woman down, so we're gonna have to pretend a little bit that there's a thrower. Basically, most of the game is throwing to somebody who's gonna try to get free. So I'm gonna be the defender, Lou's gonna be the receiver. My job is to get between the thrower, the camera in this case, and the receiver, and then his job is to cut, the thrower would lead to him, and I would try to defend that. So we'll just show it quickly. We don't have a thrower. You're not gonna see a Frisbee magically go through the air. You're gonna have to use your imagination for just a second. So I'm on defense, and I'm trying to cover Lou, and then he gets to run, and I try to do that. He gets back to the middle, and in this case, and then in monkey in the middle, if I get it, then I guess in this case Lou would go in the middle, and then I'm the thrower. But you just rotate who's the monkey and who's throwing and catching, so nobody gets too tired. But it's a great way to practice your cutting and your defending, because that's really most of what the game really is. So that's called monkey in the middle. You'll see that in football also. So that's it. Three drills for Frisbee.